Welcome to the Leading with Purpose. Each episode is an exciting journey offering an exclusive opportunity to hear from Vermont's impactful leaders. Whether from the fields of business, government, or the nonprofit sectors, these leaders share their personal and professional experiences, unveiling the challenges and achievements that have shaped their paths. Leading with Purpose elevates itself by providing viewers with an insider's look at dynamic organizations that promote positive change throughout Vermont. Join us on this transformative journey as Leading with Purpose unveils the stories of leaders shaping organizations and transforming Vermont with purpose-driven leadership. Discover the power of leadership that goes beyond success, leaving a legacy of positive change in its trail. Welcome everyone. We have a very special guest today with us, Montpelier Police Chief Eric Norderson. Thank you for being with us today and accept to share your leadership mindset and vision with us. I'm very happy to host you.
Thank you for having me.
So I have some questions for you so we can learn more about your leadership mindset and vision and practices and also your style a little bit. So if it is okay with you, I will just ask the first one. So can you provide a brief overview of your leadership journey and how it led you to where you are today?
Sure, yeah, it's quite the interesting journey. I've spent the last 27 years of my career here at Montpelier. I started off as a patrol officer, worked my way up to a patrol corporal, which is basically kind of your first responsibility as a supervisor, where you just fill in for a sergeant on shifts. Then I kind of worked my way up to sergeant, which I was able to then lead a shift and kind of set the direction for that shift and the objectives that we wanted to accomplish. And then when the deputy chief position opened up, I jumped at that opportunity to kind of figure out how to run all the operations of the police department. So that was probably the most fun I've had as a police officer was the deputy chief. I had my hand in just about everything. And then the chief's job opened. I'd always dreamed of being a police chief. Then I kind of didn't think it was going to be a reality, and then all of a sudden it opened up, and I had to jump at that opportunity to lead the PD that I've been at for so long. And now I deal more with the politics and the policy and different things. So, my journey's been certainly from the ground up here at Montpelier, and I've just enjoyed every step of it.
Yeah, and I think you've created such a positive environment in Montpelier. And as a resident of Montpelier, I can see it, and it is very important. And I'm invited to my class. I'm teaching leadership at the college level, and my students loved hear from you, your leadership style. So I just want to ask the second question, which is related about that, so you can share your leadership style with our viewers too. So how would you describe your leadership style, and how has it evolved over the course of your career, and how your leadership contributes to both organizational success and community impact?
There's certainly a lot to that question, right? I think my style, you nailed it with being positive. I think, just having a leader that comes in and smiles every day and sets a good example for everybody else. It's hard to be in a bad mood when your boss is kind of happy, right? So, smiling is the essence of how I start my day. I come in pretty happy and make sure everybody else is pretty happy. And that positive attitude is sometimes contagious, especially, we deal with a lot of challenging issues here in town, but if we can do it with a smile and knowing that we're trying to help people at the end of the day and just do the best that you can. Every new person that comes into our PD, I ask them to try as hard as you can every day, and then treat everybody how you would like your family treated. And if we can do those two things and then do it with a smile, I think we've pretty much nailed the service that we're trying to provide.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes we talk, right, and I ask, how was your day, right? For you, normal day is not like a normal day like for rest of us, right? And probably your positive leadership style affects to make it things like more normal. I don't know how to explain how normal it's for you, but right, so it is important.
Yeah, nothing is ever really normal for us.
Yeah.
You know, every situation's a little different, and you know, you just have to weigh those situations and then just try and do the best you can. Again, like we said, and the outcomes, you know, are kind of going to be the outcomes depending on how you respond to those. So if we do it positively, usually we can get a decent outcome.
Yeah, and it is great that you can keep that positivity in you because all the things you are dealing and you have to face with, it must be really challenging. So can you share a specific initiative or project where your organization has made a meaningful contribution to the local community?
Sure, you know, we do a lot of good things. You know, one of the things I'm probably most proud of is our crisis intervention team training. It had gotten started by a previous chief, and it was just kind of, you know, everything was getting ready to go, but not getting ready to go. And when I was able to get involved, I just said, we need to set a date to get this going. And then that just got the balls going again, going forward. So we held our first class about 1.5 years ago, and we've held 3 altogether. It's brought, you know, not just police, but mental health providers, EMS, fire. Every provider now has a seat at the table, and we communicate about crisis, people in crisis, and trying to find the best way to help those persons. It might not be the police in every incident. It could be somebody from EMS. It could be somebody from Washington County Mental Health, or maybe it could be the police. But having those conversations and having relationships before we respond to crisis has been really, really impactful for us.
So I also read something, if you want to elaborate it, like a coffee with cop. I always thought that is really good initiative. So is there any update on it, or do you want to share a little bit?
Sure, yeah. Sergeant Mike Philbrook, he runs our Coffee with a Cop, does a wonderful job. He's really community-minded, and that's one of his passions. You know, and as a leader, sometimes you just get out of the way of people that have good ideas. I ask him, tell me what you need, and then tell me to stay out of your way, so we can do those things. So Mike will be, and the rest of us will be at the farmers market coming up. We usually set up a table there. We do the winter's farmers market, and we do a couple local coffee shops. But most of the time you can see our guys and girls out on foot patrol quite a bit, and you don't necessarily have to have a formal setting. You can just come and talk to us. You know, we enjoy that.
Yeah, I really appreciate you mentioned that, oh, you know, I ask them, what do you want me to do? And I will like be away, because most of the leaders sometimes they think that if they do everything for their team members, it's a good leadership. But I think being invisible is the best way of, I think, leading team and team members. So I don't know what you think about it, but it is also kind of part of a purpose-driven leadership. So my question will be related to that model. So in what ways do you believe purpose-driven leadership can transform not only organization, but also entire communities?
Sure, you know, that part's important. I'm not necessarily invisible. But supportive.
Yeah.
You know,
good point.
You know, my job is to get the guys and girls everything that they need, give them the direction, and then let them run with it from there. And if they need support on one end or the other, that's my job to help them then get over the hump. I think, you know, the people that we work with, when they have an idea and they're allowed to follow through on that idea, and then they have a success, you know, that just breeds more success. And, you know, I know there's always some quotes and things like that, but Anson Dorn, he was the women's soccer coach at University of North Carolina, and he always said, catch them doing something right. And kind of something in my head is like, you know, our society is somewhat negative, but when we're doing really good things, I think it's important to tell people that they've done really good, and then other people want to do good, and then it just kind of gets contagious to do good. So yeah, you know, just allowing people to do their job and knowing that you've got their back and you're going to support them, I think is a really good environment to work in.
So I have like being supportive, letting team members do their job, and also being positive, right? When you talk about your leadership style. So can you share a success story, highlights that approach? Any specific story you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, the CIT program is certainly one of those things. But, you know, it was probably 10 or so years ago, the city had sent me down to Boston to help Boston PD do their promotional process. And during the course of that, Boston PD spent a couple $1 million to have computers to analyze the entire process. I took notes, tried to do the best I could to come up with a process for our promotional system. We ran it. Our staff really liked it, and then we've since now handed it down to different officers to run it. So now our entire leadership team knows how to run this program, and then we've actually taken it to other departments where we'll send somebody to help. It takes bias out, and it's a real, it treats everybody the same, and it's a real effective way to promote or even hire, for that matter. And our staff is basically, taken the ball and run with it, and I don't have much to do with it anymore. They've tinkered with it and made it their own, which is something I'm really proud of.
Mm-hmm. So these are all great summaries, or initiatives you are doing with your team. So I will move to my last question, but do you want to add anything that you think I haven't covered with my questions about, again, your leadership mindset, vision, and also all the things you want to give back to your community?
Sure. I think one of the most important things that I have to do in the next couple of years is, we have probably, and you'll hear me say this at City Council, we have, probably 4 or so of us that are going to be leaving within the next 3 years. So, I think my job is to get the rest of the staff ready to take over. And then I would take, incredible pride if somebody had applied for my job. So my job is to get someone ready to do that, or maybe 2 people or 3 people. And to do that, we have a lot of succession planning, a lot of training that we have to go through, and just trying to push those people to get their experience level quick, which is kind of tricky in our line of work because nothing replaces time and experience. So we've got a lot of work to do to try and get our youngest people kind of ramped up in the next 3 years before we lose a bunch of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is another challenging process, right? Doing day-to-day job, but also planning the future and preparing everything. So when the future comes, you won't be, oh, wait, what's happening? Instead, we are ready. Now we can just act, right, based on our plan. Yeah. So I know although we plan things, leaders think about everything, they have everything in their mind or trying to share with their team, still sometimes we feel lonely, right? Because some of the things leaders should take them by themselves, and we need motivation. And I always think that, external motivation is great, but sometimes we need to find our inner motivation to help us to move on. So can you please share a leadership quote or a statement with us that inspire you in your leadership journey?
Yeah, sure. There's thousands of quotes, and, not to be cliche or anything like that. Dick Marcinko, he was the founder of SEAL Team 6. Avid reader of the Navy SEALs, and I always enjoyed him. I have a bunch of books that he actually signed, and one inscription he wrote into one of my books was to basically never quit. And things are going to be difficult in life, and things are difficult in this job, and things are difficult in every job, but don't give up and don't quit, and just keep pushing forward. And that's always been kind of the SEAL motto, and I've always had that kind of in the back of my head too. It's if it's tough, just keep going. Just keep going. It'll be better tomorrow. And I think if you read, my yearly report, I said better days are ahead. That we're not quitting. We just survived the flood. Keep going. We're gonna get better. My city council presentation that's going to be coming up is, better days are ahead. More good things are coming. So I think that's my positive outlook. But it's also that drive that if it gets tough, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going. So it kind of keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for being with us today. And thank you for being positive and like preparing our community and your department for future, and also being visible for your team when they need you, but allow them to do their job, and they know that you are there, but they have also power, so they are empowered by your leadership style. So thank you, Chief. I'm very happy that you accepted our invite and come here and explain your mindset with us, and thank you for everything you and your team are doing for our community to keep it safe and to keep our children safe. So I really appreciate all your hard work for
Great.
our community.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
As we conclude another inspiring episode of Leading with Purpose, we want to express our appreciation for joining us on this transformative journey. Throughout this series, we have had the privilege of delving into the lives and leadership styles of Vermont's most impactful individuals. The exclusive journey we have shared have allowed us to hear firsthand from influential leaders across the business, government, and nonprofit sectors. We have gained a unique understanding of what it truly means to lead with purpose. The heart of Leading with Purpose lies in its commitment to showcasing leaders who are committed to giving back to their communities, demonstrating how leadership extends far beyond office walls. We hope you have been inspired by the generous actions of these extraordinary individuals, seeing firsthand how leadership can make a lasting impact on the community. We invite you to continue on this journey with us as Leading with Purpose explores the stories of leaders who are not only shaping their organizations, but also transforming Vermont through purpose-driven leadership. Thank you for being a part of this inspiring community, and we look forward to sharing more impactful stories of leadership and purpose in the episodes to come.